Are you thinking about moving to Florida? If so, you've probably got a lot of questions regarding crime, schools, and neighborhoods. But guess what? Your real estate advisor legally cannot answer those questions for you. It's not that we don't want to help you, we're just legally not allowed to. Now, there is good reason for this, and I'm about to break it down for you. Why? So if you've ever asked a real estate agent about a crime, a neighborhood, or where a group of people live, you might have got a deflective answer or no answer at all. And that's because they can't answer that question, not without legal repercussions. Now, the reason for that is because of the Fair Housing Act. It protects 7 protected classes, which means race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, and national origin. This means that real estate agents legally cannot answer any questions regarding those 7 protected classes because it would be discriminatory even if unintentionally. Now, for an example, I will say sometimes we get asked, is there a neighborhood where, and they would describe a group of people, live? Even if the buyer is asking us that question, we still cannot answer the question. What a professional real estate advisor can do is give you information where you can get that data, and that's going to be the U.S. Census. Now, the Fair Housing Law was designed to ensure fair housing access to all people. Even if I know the information about a community that you are seeking and it pertains to the 7 protected classes, I cannot answer it because it would be considered steering, which is still illegal even if you are requesting it. Now, let's go over the first one. The first one that everybody wants to know about is they want to know what is the crime in an area. Many buyers will ask the question, is this a safe area? Or I want to live in a safe area, or I want to make sure that there are no drug dealings or gangs or any kind of shootings. But I can't give you this information for 2 reasons. First, it's considered discriminatory. If an agent advises against a neighborhood for crime concerns, it could be interpreted as discouraging buyers from moving there. And number 2, crime is subjective. I have many buyers that say, I don't care about an area that is dealing drugs because they might be looking to score the drugs. So they're going to be completely okay with that. But somebody else is going to be not okay with shooting because they're just not used to it, but someone coming from an area where there was a lot of shooting or gangs might be okay with it. And that is why it is subjective. You're going to have to make the decision on what kind of crime is okay for you because let's be honest, every area has crime. If there is an area that you have found that doesn't have crime, let me know because I think we all want to move there because every place has crime. Now, how do you as a buyer find out the crime information? First and foremost, I would say contact the local authorities, whether that's the police department or the sheriff's department. Get in touch with them, give them the address. They will be able to give you a history of what the crime is in that area and the surrounding areas. Also, if the community has a homeowners association, contact the members of the homeowner association or the board, and they will gladly share what's going on in that community. Other websites that you can look at are crimemapping.com, neighborhoodscout.com, and citydata.com. Next up on the list that we can't discuss are schools and children. But first, if you don't already have a real estate advisor, click on the link below or scan the QR code and I would be happy to schedule a time with you and we can talk. No obligation, no pressure, just conversation. Now back to the schools and the children. Many buyers will ask, is this a good area? Or are there a lot of children? And then they may specify like ages or grades. Or I want to live in an area where there's a lot of kids because I want little Tommy to have a lot of friends to play with. We cannot answer that question. First, again, good is subjective. Your definition of good and your neighbor's definition of good are going to be completely different. And number 2, answering the question could be discrimination. Even if unintentional, it could be steering a buyer to or from an area based on familial status. And if you don't know what familial status is, that means having children. Now, honestly, I get asked this question more than anything else. And I want to tell you from my perspective, I don't know what the children are in any particular neighborhood. Even in my own neighborhood, I'm past having children, so I don't pay attention to any of the children in any neighborhood. And honestly, if somebody is paying a lot of attention to the children in a neighborhood, that's just a little creepy to me. There are also websites that you can check out to find out more about a school's rating. They are greatschools.org, schooldigger.com, and of course, contact the local local school in that area. Now, once you as a buyer have determined the school zones that you would want to live in, you now can tell me or your real estate agent exactly what school zones you want to live in, and then we can find you homes in that area. Because see, schools are not a protected class. Children are a protected class, and discussing children inside the school zone is not okay. But discussing where you want your child to go, that's all right. Next up that we can't talk about are race, nationality, and religion. Many times I will be asked, I want to live in an area because I want to go to said church, or I want to be in an area where there are a lot of, and then said religion. That is a protected class. I cannot tell you where those neighborhoods are. But now if you found a church that you wanted to go to, and you said, I want to be within 3 miles of this church, that I can find for you. But I can't find you a neighborhood where most of the people in that neighborhood go to said church. I know all of these seem like very innocent questions, and they are, but they are still fair housing violations. So again, if you are wanting to find out more about an area or a community or the people that live in it, it is going to either be the Nextdoor app or the HOA or Condo board that will be able to give you more of a makeup of what's going on in the community, because most of the people that serve on those committees are not in real estate. And if there is someone on that board that is in real estate, they shouldn't be talking about it. Now let me give you something that we can discuss. We can discuss the HOA and the condo association rules. But here's the thing. As a real estate agent, we do not know every rule for every association out there. And the rules are what you have to live by. And they can vary widely from subdivision to subdivision. So my advice to you is always contact the association. Get a copy of their most current governing documents, their financials, and if they've got it readily available, get the last minutes of the meeting, because you are going to have to live by those rules. They could have rules like maybe there's a pet limitation and you've got a 300-pound fluffy and they don't allow anything over 30 pounds. You might have a boat that you are planning to bring with you and they do not allow boats, even in the backyard. Some people have RVs, or they have the guests visiting during the holidays with RVs, and many associations do not allow it. And I know of one association that is so strict, you literally can't move a flower in the yard without getting approval first. Now, personally, I would never trust my real estate agent to get information from the association, because they don't know everything that you are planning to do. And they're going to ask that one specific question that you want information on. And a lot of times when that question is answered, it will lead to another question, but you won't know that because you didn't make the call. So I would always recommend, because you have to live there at the end of the day, you contact the association, get all of your answers, and make sure that you're okay with what you're going to have to live by. Don't trust anybody else to do that work for you. Now that you understand why real estate agents cannot answer your burning questions regarding crime, schools, familial status, religion, and the other protected classes, remember, we want to help you. We just don't want to get in trouble, and we don't want to give you wrong information. A good real estate professional is going to be able to have the resources to put you in touch with, so that you can still get the information that you want, so that you can make the best choices for your situation. If you are moving to Florida in 2 months or 2 years, I would love to talk to you. You can scan my QR code or schedule a time to chat with me on my Calendly link in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.